Music Matters. Mr. EJ Ross.
How's it going?
How are you, brother? Thank you for doing this, man.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for making the drive so early. How you doing this morning?
I'm good, bro. You?
Nice, man. Yeah, I'm doing good. It's a beautiful sunny morning in Los Angeles. Things are beautiful.
Absolutely.
You drove out, you said, because you live down like near LMU, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Nice, bro. Yeah, well, thanks for making the commute up, bro. I appreciate it. I found your stuff originally through Josh P. and Andrew. They put me onto it, and it's been cool to kind of like go through your catalog and realize like what you're into, because you don't have a lot of music out, but I think what's cool about that is that the sonic direction within your stuff is already very, very prominent, and that was something that I think I realized very early when I started listening to your music. It feels like you have a very clear direction, which was sick, but I was curious too, because looking back in your catalog, obviously like you come from the world of production as well as vocals, and like you're kind of a man of both of those things, and it seems like from the outside at least that they're both like very very important to you. But talk to me about like which one you began with, how that kind of transpired, and how one led to the other. Did you begin as a vocalist, as a producer, a songwriter? I know you're like a keys player as well, and you play some other instruments and stuff, but what was kind of like the pipeline for you to get into everything?
Yeah. First of all, thank you. Second, I was definitely a musician first. So I grew up playing keys since I was a little boy. My parents put me in piano lessons. So, you know, I was grinding out the lessons with teachers, different teachers. I've gone through different teachers, including my grandmother taught me at one point.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I was playing piano. I think, so I told you earlier, I grew up in California. My sophomore year of high school, I moved to Atlanta, which is right before COVID. But I think when I went to Atlanta, you know, I had to go to a new school. I didn't really have as many friends. So I picked up music back again and started like kind of going further with it, because I started playing basketball when I was in California. But I went back to like, I guess, music and my piano roots, started putting it to like production. Yeah. So like that's when I first got Logic and all of that. My dad is also in the music industry and he uses Logic, so I was like, how do you do that? You know what I mean?
Nice. Your dad's a producer?
He's a film composer.
Oh, so, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, so
I'm sure you grew up with crazy taste, bro.
You know, he definitely put me on.
Yeah.
But, okay, so yeah, I went to production, and I don't know, I stuck with that till college. I mean, I started kind of putting my voice on stuff like last year or so, which is, I guess, why I don't have so many songs. I'm just kind of starting out, but yeah, it was musician to producer to artist.
Interesting. So you weren't, like, you didn't grow up singing?
Nah.
I find that crazy hard to believe. That's wild.
Truth.
No, I believe you, but that's just so insane.
Yeah.
When you, that's super interesting that you began with keys. I always say, and I mean, again, I'm a drummer and I play a little bit of guitar, so I, you know, not very technically theoretical instruments, but I always say that I think if somebody's goal was to learn every single instrument, the most logical one to begin on would be the piano. Yeah. Because I think it inherently gives you like a level of theory just right off the bat. I mean, everything's laid out for your hands right there. When you were learning, I'm curious because I think a lot of people who grew up playing music, they tend to get or a lot more into the technicalities very early rather than like becoming songwriters. But it's so clear that songwriting is really important to you. How big of a role did theory play when you began learning? Like, were you kind of learning more based on feel, more based on songwriting, or were you kind of learning specifically in a theoretical sense?
I think everything all at once, right? Like, I think at the end of the day, the feel means the most to me because, I mean, what is a good song theoretically if it doesn't feel good?
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
But no, the theory means a lot to me, but more so from a sense of learning other people's stuff, right? Like listening to the guys like the Beatles and listening to like, I don't know, just other people I've looked up to, like, or Stevie Wonder, you know what I mean? Like, knowing the theory can help you kind of make their genius make a little more sense.
Interesting. That's a cool way to put it, yeah.
And like, you know, put it to my stuff, but for sure the feel matters more to me.
Yeah, making someone's genius make more sense. That's a really unique way to put it. I've never thought about that. But that, I think, that to me is the cool part about music theory, right? It's like quantifying what makes something great. But it's not the only thing that can make something great.
Right.
I mean, you bring up the Beatles, like they certainly have some interesting theory to their music. Like I think like the whole major to minor thing they do all the time, like is really cool. There's like, I think Ringo is an example of a really, really like, not like complicated drummer, but I think he's violently in the pocket in every single song, which is why he's one of my favorite drummers. But I mean, you can't bring up the Beatles without talking about their songwriting, and that's what makes it so interesting. I think like I've certainly met a lot of people who grew up in the strictly instrumental world who get so involved in that world where like songwriting and feel and like just expressing emotion like that goes out the window, which is certainly like a strange way to look at music, because it's like music then becomes like nothing but math.
Exactly. And I mean, when you like find that balance of both, when you like get that perfect amount of like theory to impress the right crowd, right? Like of the musicians and the like producers and all of that, and then like somehow also make it feel good. It's like that's how you get one of those songs, like a Stevie Wonder, like Overjoyed. You know what I mean? I was listening to that on the way here. Like that's like that combination of both is like a sweet spot.
Can you point to a place where you first feel like you found that? Because I agree. I mean, I think as a musician, that's like a really difficult balance to strike, right? Especially somebody who grew up playing like keys and learning and getting lessons like you did. So much of that world, I think, sometimes will leave the feel. So do you feel like there was a moment where you first began to be able to strike both those chords, and if so, what was that moment like for you?
For sure. Well, gladly enough, those lessons taught me how to play piano, right?
Yeah, totally.
So they became more so a tool rather than like a I don't know, like it just was something I can do, right?
Yeah.
And so when it came to songwriting, I don't know, like, cause I'll tell you now, when I make music, I know it's a good song when I go on the piano and I like can play it and sing it, and it's like feels crazy. You know what I mean? The production is like second. Well, not all the time, but like in terms of songwriting, you know what I mean?
A good song,
exactly. And I think so given that I took the lessons as a kid, I don't know, when I got back into it, like my sophomore year, junior year of high school, it's just like, I don't know, when I got back into it, it was like, how do I even say this, bro? Like,
so you mean like when you moved to Atlanta, and then kind of, because you said when you moved there, obviously, I mean, like it's difficult to like know a bunch of people when you first move somewhere. So you said you didn't know a lot of people, and that brought you back to music in a different way?
Right. But like, okay, so I stopped. I was playing basketball. Like that's what I wanted to do, which was, I mean, a little unrealistic. But
do you play a lot still?
Yeah, I play like for fun.
We should hoop, bro.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But I strayed away from it. But when I came back to it, it was more so about making a good song. It was more so about the production. It was more so about like wanting people that like don't understand theory to like the music, right?
Yeah.
I had the tool of like being able to play piano. You know what I mean? So I think that's when I found it was like, oh snap, like I now only care about the feel, honestly. You know what I mean? But I have this tool of being able to play keys to like make it come to life. You know what I mean? Like,
totally, dude. I mean, I think that's the best way, most honest way to describe it, is that like theory is nothing more than a tool. It's like a means to express emotion. It shouldn't be like I think most musicians and most instrumentalists, they love interesting things in music, obviously, right? Like nobody likes a boring chord progression. Nobody likes things that are stale, things that are done, whatever. That, I think that can go without being said. But I think when people become too theoretical, it very quickly can become like nothing more than math, and lose that. It can lose that feel, dude. I went to NAMM for the first time. Like I guess last NAMM or whatever it was, but hearing some of the conversations that people were having in that building was so weird, because it becomes like so analytical.
Exactly.
Which is like such a strange way to look at art to me.
Exactly.
Like it's cool. I mean, everybody, I think everybody has an appreciation for it, but I think gear and theory and things that are statistical and analytical and can be dwindled down to math, that's all they can be. They can't be emotion. They can't make you feel things. I suppose they can make you feel things, but they can't, it can't just be that.
Exactly. In fact, like most of the sessions I do now, it's like me, a few other musicians, just jamming out and like
cool.
making something and then recording it, right? Like then making it a production, but like getting that feel first of like what kind of feel is this song gonna have? You know what I mean?
When you're that's an interesting thing. When you're kind of working as a producer, I mean, your world is very musical, but it's also like, you know, I think there's a lot of traditional R&B roots in it as well. I was curious, like as a producer, I mean, it sounds like I know the answer to this question now, given your background, but when you're in a session with somebody, are you more often than not beginning with an organic instrumental and then building a song off of that, or are you more in the box on the DAW, like producing out a beat and then working off that? What's your process kind of like, and how do things start? And then also, I mean, kind of a second question here, but how do you know when they feel right? Like, how do you know when you said when you're jamming with some friends and whatever, like, how do you know when you hit something where you're like, oh, like that progression and we can build off of, that melody we can build off of, like, how does that feel?
No, most of the time, we're starting on an instrument, whether it's me or my homie, you know, on guitar or something, you know what I mean? Most of the time, because that's, like I said, making a good song, it's like I can do it on piano first. Sure. You know? But that when you find out it's a good song is when everybody starts jumping up and down and it's like, oh, snap, this is it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's a difference. Like, I feel like I can go make a traditional R&B song, like, that we've heard a million times. Because, like, that's theory, honestly. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's true. Every time you find that sweet spot, it's like an accident, or like you were just jamming, and that's why everybody gets so hype. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm never gonna get hyped to like hear what I've already heard. It's like panning for gold. Yeah, exactly. And then like you hit it and you're like, oh shit, like we got here. Exactly. I think that happy accident is a really, really cool phenomenon. Yeah. I tell this story a lot, but I had a friend named Estelle on the podcast one time, and she described this in a cool way to me, where she said like when she plays with her band, and you know you hit that like whoa feeling. She described it as like a strike of lightning that only you and everybody else in the room feels. Yeah. Which is something that I think is so special to music, bro. And to me, I mean, that's like as imperative to a good studio session as it is to a live performance to me. Like, that's one of my favorite things as a live music fan, is experiencing a moment where you're like, that moment will only live there forever. And with all those people in that room, that to me is why like the process of making music live and also watching music be performed live, that's why it's so special. Yep. And as a producer, all you want is that moment to happen, you know, with the artist. Like, that's all you want to happen. As an artist, it's a little different, right? Because like I'm throwing paint at the wall like all the time. So every time it's not gonna hit, you know. But like as a producer, that's all you want to deliver is like that moment in the room where like, everybody's like turned, you know. Yeah, I think I think that's something a lot of young artists can learn from. That's super interesting to me. When you are in that place, right, and it sounds like your process is very based in like feeling things out, feeling what's right, you know, just working till you find that moment. When you're in the beginning stages of throwing paint at the wall, right, and just trying to see what looks good, and you know, I would imagine some days that doesn't come. How do you get through those moments and find the inspiration to keep throwing paint at the wall and keep trying to figure out what it is that's going to make this song go? Like, whether, you know, you're stuck on a progression, stuck on the drums, whatever, how do you break through those kind of creative barriers and continue to throw paint at the wall? Well, the excitement from the last time that we hit, you know, the excitement from the last time that we found the gold is going to make me want more forever in my entire life. You know, like I always want to have that moment for the rest of my life, you know? That's how. It's always chasing that moment. Absolutely, yeah. I think I think a lot of musicians describe it that way. Yeah, and our dream is, you know, to like have that crazy catalog. And that crazy catalog comes from like plenty of those moments, you know? And then it's like, here are my moments. That's basically what you're like, what a great catalog is, like, here are my moments, like, you know? That's a really cool way to paint it. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, it's really what it is. It's kind of like a highlight reel. Exactly. You know, it's like an athlete's highlight reel. Exactly. It's like, here are my best moments, my favorite moments. One of my favorite examples of that is I don't know if you've seen it, but there's this video of Travis Scott making Astroworld, and when they were all in Hawaii, and I think it's the progression on like Stargazing, or like, I don't remember the song, but there's this moment where they're all in the studio and they hit that like
Or no, I remember what it was. It was when they got the Juice WRLD vocals.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was. And they put it in the track. And then Travis Scott like gets up and he starts like running around the room, like just throwing his hands up.
That's
and
it, bro.
I always think of that moment. Like that, I think is what everybody's trying to get to.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think too, as a fan, like being, lucky enough to be around so many musicians constantly, and like growing up in the studio with a lot of musicians, like watching people get to that moment can be the most exciting thing ever, bro.
Yep. But then it gets tough, right? Like you've had that moment, and then like you have to like in this day and age promote it and give it all that extra until it comes out, and then even after it comes out still promote it. Like then it's like honestly like you might can lose the spark that you felt of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like at that point, I think is when you really know if you have a really special moment, is when you're still showing people that have heard it with fresh ears.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And they're still going crazy. But like sometimes like those moments in the studio are elevated for sure. And then, you might wake up the next morning or like listen back to it in a couple weeks, right? And it's like not that anymore.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit, because I was looking through your TikTok, and before you drop songs, you were posting the snippets every day. Some people in the comments were hella upset that you were dropping it, because they're great. Yeah, I mean, of course, man. Yeah, but like, talk about how frustrating that can be as an artist, like kind of that process of making something, being so excited about it, and then just because of the state of the industry, essentially being forced, if you want it to do well, to post it a million times, promote the shit out of it, just like kind of beat a dead horse to a degree. Does that ever make you lose the spark for it? And have you gone through trial and error in terms of the way that you've learned to promote your songs as you began releasing music?
It loses the spark for the song for sure. Unless the people are excited. Yeah. But it's, bless you.
Thank you.
It's just, that's the work part of it.
Sure.
Right? Like music is not work, but that other side of it, right? Like promoting it, and like I've never been the type of guy to like record a TikTok. Yeah. But it's like, man, like I guess I have to in this day. But shoot, honestly, TikTok has changed my life right now, man. So it's worth it in the end.
Sure.
But yeah, it definitely loses the spark.
I mean, I think about it in two ways. One, I think that there's certainly something to be said about reframing your mindset around TikTok, because I feel very similar to you. But I think as soon as I kind of reframed my mindset and got to a place where I was like, all right, well, all this is kind of like a vertical YouTube, if you think about it that way. You can still like make really sick art and like put it on TikTok. There's it's just like another means to transmit information.
Exactly.
So I think about it in that lens. And then I interviewed my friends in this band Grave Secrets one time, and they put this in a cool way to me. And I think they got this from this PR person named Jamie Coletta, who's incredible. She broke like a bunch of really sick bands in like the 2000s. She's really cool. But the way that she described this, I guess, to them was, she said, like, why would you put in all of the groundwork to like make a project to not promote it? Like, why would you make an entire project or like a bunch of really sick songs just to post them one time and then not ever post them again? Like, I think you really gotta be your biggest fan. I think that's something that's very, very vital. You have to really believe in the things that you're making, and then I think the confidence comes to promote them.
For sure. Which is why it can't be theory, Sure. It has to be that moment. You got to be excited about it. But then there's the other side of it, right? Of like, you just want to test the waters, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I made something this morning, and let me post it real quick, test the waters. And people might love it, but it's like, strategically, or just like because of things I might have to do, like get it mixed, or like finish the second verse that y'all didn't even know
like
wasn't
logistics.
done. Yeah, exactly. It's like, now it's like pressure that like honestly it's my fault for even posting in the first place, but it's like I posted a song called Focused on my TikTok.
The snippet's fire.
Thank you, man. People loved it, but man, I wasn't done. Like, I was not done like when I first posted it. And it's like a pressure when in the creative space, like, is not healthy for the song. Like, when it's like I'm doing it for people instead of like the song itself, you know what I mean? It's like it messes it all up. But Don't worry, I got focus done. So, like, you know, but
yeah, I mean that's super interesting too, because that's I think about this a lot actually, and that's kind of like a phenomenon that I think has only existed in the current iteration of the music industry, which is so interesting. I have a friend of mine, and he does this thing where like he just like he makes a song every day essentially, or tries to, or whatever, right? And then like when he's done, like you know, even if the song's not done, you know, if he finishes the first verse, or he finishes the hook or whatever, he just records it and puts it on TikTok. And then those are, you know, whichever one does well informs like what he goes on and finishes, and you know that's interesting, but and there's something to be said about it for sure, and I think there's a lot of validity in it. But at the same time, like he talks about how that can pigeonhole him into working on things that he's not excited about, but the people are excited about. And I think that's a really strange double-edged sword, because you've never, like, you've literally until now have never been able to do that. Like, even if you're testing a song live before you put it out, that song still has to be done. Yeah. Like, people aren't just playing, like, a bunch of half songs in their live sets, you know? Right. So it's like, this has been the only time in history where you can half finish a song and then see if people like it. Which is crazy. A lot less risk, you know?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. 100%.
And like, I don't know if that risk is healthy to the creative process, or that lack of risk is healthy to the creative process. I actually feel like, you know, like dropping songs that nobody likes, that can be a really informative and important part of every single artist's career.
Yeah, Jay Versace tells me all the time, like people might catch on years later, you know? Yeah. Like some of the stuff we're doing is like may not catch people's ear right away, you know? But like trusting our gut, trusting our ear of like, no, this is fire, you know what I mean? And then like maybe later people will hear it and it's like, whoa, like, you know, like that's what you guys were on like back then, you know what I mean? Yeah. So
I mean, dude, his journey's so non-linear too, because he started like he was a Viner, right? For sure, yeah. And then he just started producing a bunch of SoundCloud stuff, and then like 5 years later he ends up, you know, working with like legends like SZA and Tyler or whatever. But it's like that process, I think, too, is really important for every artist to go through. I actually think it's really contrary to making your best work if you just post a couple snippets when you first start making music, and for whatever reason, you know, be it luck, God, whatever, they just blow up. Yeah. I actually think that's like bad for you as an artist. I think that, you know, I remember like post-pandemic, there were a bunch of artists who like began making music during the pandemic and then blew up within the same time period. Yep. And their first shows were like massive festivals. Yeah. Which is crazy.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah.
It's the times, I guess, you know?
Yeah. Talk a bit more about, because you touched on it a bit, but it's interesting. You know, like that moment and that reaction you get from people, and just the reaction in general. How much does that inform what you do next? Like people's reception of a song? Because I think there's certainly something to be said about catering to your audience, but there's also something to be said about like remaining true to your artistic roots and what you love, and making sure that is the guiding light in everything. But how much do people's reaction to some of the songs that you make inform whether or not you're going to put it out, or inform the rest of the track? Like, just, I guess, like artist feedback and also like feedback of listeners.
Yeah, I think there's an approach, right, that you kind of have to take, depending upon how many people are listening. Like, you know, like in the beginning, you might want to make music that's like for a broader audience, you know, try to get as many people as possible. I mean, obviously, you have to love it first, but, you know, it might be it's like trying to get as many people to rock with you as possible. You know, you're up and coming. You're trying to get it to shake, but from a when you have people listening, you want to make those people happy. You want to make those people tell their friends, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
So does that, like, are you placing a lot of like the weight in your decisions on people's reaction to it? Like when you post something and it goes crazy, are you a lot more likely to go and finish it? Yeah. Or are you just like following the things that you love more so?
Yes, right now, which is my fault, but I'm done doing that. I'm gonna I'm only gonna post stuff that like I'm like excited about, then I'll post it, you know. Yeah, because they want it, I don't want to like start no fires. You know?
Yeah, and it can be so strange because like you can love a song so much and nobody can like it, or you can hate a song and everybody can love it.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the classic trope is like Radiohead talking about how they hate Creep, or like whatever. I mean, there's so many artists that are like this. Like they hate their biggest song, but like it's the one that lands. So to a degree, like, do you follow that, or do you like just go back to what you love? It's a very constant battle, I would imagine.
Yeah, for sure. And shoot, it's not horrible, but it's like, I don't know. I'm indifferent about it. It's like I'm glad people like it, but I would really rather them love something I love.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But since I've already put it out, it's like, just give them what they want real quick. But it's like, it's one of the lessons I've learned, like as an early artist, like don't show what you don't. Like, don't show what you wouldn't want to put out, because if they love it, you're kind of cooked.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You're kind of pigeonholed. You kind of got to put it out.
Exactly. I mean, to just keep people happy, like, and to make the smart move, right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah. I mean, there's something to be said too about like curating a community around your music that like loves the things that you love.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from only really putting out shit that you believe in.
Yeah. I
think I've seen a lot of artists put out songs that have done well but they don't really love, and then unfortunately their fan base becomes accustomed to things that they don't love.
Yeah.
And then that becomes very difficult when you want to like move into a place where like sonically you're doing something different. Because sometimes people jump ship.
Yeah.
It can be really I think attention is really fickle, and it's more fickle now than it ever has been, bro.
Sure.
I mean, when you have it, it's like you want to hold on to it.
Of course.
Yeah, and like I mean, especially right now, bro. Like people's attention spans are so short. People will swipe past the Mona Lisa on their feed. Like it's whatever.
Yeah, that's crazy, actually. But
yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. It's hard to keep it. You were talking about your dad being a film composer. That's a really cool world. You having like musical roots that come from like being a keys player and stuff. Those worlds are certainly colliding in a lot of different ways. Like I would imagine as a composer, he's working very heavily on keys and a whole slew of instruments. But how has it been having him kind of watch you become a musician and be in the same world as him? And what are the biggest lessons you think you've learned from him?
Yeah, that's my dog. Like
that's awesome.
He's definitely he's guiding me. He's really guiding me through this whole thing. Like, I don't know, bro. For like, honestly, hats off to myself for listening to him.
Sure,
but like, he's really like taking me exactly where like what's right. And he's honest. Like something like he's not always right, but like for the most part, like following him has only done me so well. But as a kid, man, he had me listening to the craziest like things. Yeah, like genuinely helped my ears so much. Like guys like Josh Groban and like soundtracks, like what's a good soundtrack that he had me listening to? I don't know. Even like the Princess and the Frog soundtrack.
Sure.
Or like what's the movie with Mowgli? Like the bear one? Jungle Book, bro.
I knew you were gonna know that instantly.
Yeah. Like, man, like he really had me listening to some good stuff. Like that has taken me like people don't necessarily know. I scored a Nickelodeon show like last summer. That's fully
what show?
It's called Young Dylan.
Cool.
I did season 5. Yeah, like bro, that's fully because my dad like had me around that. As at a young age, like or like just I don't know, my love for like string arrangements or horn arrangements or like all of that comes from my dad showing me that music when I was young, putting that in my brain.
Yeah, dude. There's so much of what you do in the future as a musician is informed by your musical roots.
For sure.
I think like whether you even realize it or not, like sometimes your taste is subconscious.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you're not even fully aware of why you like the things that you like, but if you really think about it, a lot of the times you can really trace it back to some of your earliest musical roots.
No, 100%. Or like, it's really good music that Christmas music he used to play.
Yeah.
That stuff is really good. Like,
yeah, man.
And it's really like changed my ear, and I play that stuff every year. Like, it's better than the
Me too.
the
I
pop
love
stuff,
Christmas
you know?
music.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's crazy, but
Some people are Christmas music haters. I'm a
Yeah.
certified Christmas music supporter.
how can you hate it? That's crazy.
This Christmas, Donny Hathaway.
Come on, G.
Come on, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Classic song.
For sure.
No, yeah, I totally feel that. It's probably so interesting for him, like not even like on a musical level, but just on like a personal level, watching you right now go through all the same shit that he went through as a young musician.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, has he given you any? I'm sure he's given you a bunch of really big lessons, but like, what are some of the biggest ones that stick out from like him doing it himself and then watching his son do it?
Yeah, I mean, not trapping myself, right? My dad grew up very shy, and I grew up shy. And then when it was like, I want to make music, it's like, man, you can only be so shy, bro. Like,
sure.
You know, like we're
Totally.
like we're doing the show. It's like, man, you asked me 6 months ago, I would have been like, nah, like shy, you know.
Yeah.
But he's only encouraged me to jump off the bridge, like, you know, and just keep, you know. Which I'm sorry, I'm really hitting the words, huh?
No,
like,
yeah.
jump off the bridge.
Jump off the bridge,
yeah,
baby.
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Above the bridge.
Yeah, above the bridge. Yeah. But like, nah, he's like just encouraging me to be bigger than that, bigger than him, you know? And like,
that's really cool.
don't think I'm like, I can think hard-headed, small-minded sometimes. It's like,
Sure.
but when he's like, nah, Eej, like you're tripping, like, you know, like go do that show, like, you know what I mean, and go do this, go do that, go do this, go do that, like, because a lot of my opinions are coming from the internet, like,
sure, man,
and it's like, man, like what a horrible place to get your opinions from, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, he keeps me like in the right headspace for sure. So.
Maybe the worst place to get your opinions from, actually.
Exactly.
I mean, dude, like, I always think about the internet's the only place where people can just say things and it doesn't matter because no one fucking knows who you are.
Exactly.
It's like a very, very like convoluted way to get opinions. But at the same time, I think that, you know, it totally can inform your next steps as long as you take it with a grain of salt. I think there's so much truth in what you just said. Like, taking every opportunity, not being hard-headed. A friend of mine reached out recently, and she pretty much just asked me. She was like, and not that I know shit or should be giving advice to anybody. I haven't accomplished very much, and I fully intend to be a student forever. But
killing it, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. But a friend of mine like reached out to me, and she was just kind of like, "How do you like maintain what you're doing? Like, how do you keep doing this?" And I thought like long and hard. It was a very general question.
Yeah.
But I thought about it long and hard, and I realized the best advice I could give her was just say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Like, in the very beginning, bro, I mean, I took every interview I could take. I did every show I could do. I, talked to anybody that I could. Like, even if like it didn't even go on to like serve me in any way, shape, or form, those conversations inform the way you talk to other people, and those conversations can divulge into things that you never would have thought.
For sure.
Like, me and Mario just got like a really big opportunity recently, and I was thinking like the way that opportunity like came up was because like I just went and talked to somebody randomly at a show.
Yep.
That's literally it.
Just do it.
And it's just like, you need to say yes.
Yeah,
you need
absolutely.
to be in the headspace where like you're open to anything that comes across your plate.
Especially while we're young.
Yeah.
It's the
so
time
true.
to soak up all the information. Like he said it great. Like, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
He said it great. Like, I was developing a muscle of like saying no instead of like developing a muscle of like doing it or being or saying I can do it. You know what I mean? So
yeah. It's also like everything, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but I feel this way a lot. Like, I think in my own brain, I make things out to be a lot more complicated than they really are, just because I've never done them. Like I think back to like throwing my first show. Before I had ever done that, I thought it was like the most complicated thing ever. Like, I was like, how does like somebody get all these people in one place at the same time, and how do they like handle the venue and the art? And I was like, it must be so expensive and take all this work and whatever. And then I did it, and I realized it was just like a series of like phone calls and emails and talking to people, and I realized, wow, this is not that complicated or deep or abstract. Like, I think especially in the world of art, sometimes musicians and people who work in art can seem so much bigger or larger than life. They really are. Until you really know them and you understand how they got to the place that they got. When you begin to break it down just in like a step-by-step process, nothing's as complicated as you think it is.
Everybody's human, man. You know, people are just figuring it out. And it's like, but it can be hard to like see that, especially through social media. which I know
Sure.
it's burnt, like, but like the term, like, you know, it's like people's highlight reel. Like,
Yeah, man.
Like, bro, we're seeing everybody's best, so absolutely, like, it's a journey. People are working for it. That's what I think was my biggest, like, realization. Like, people are out here really working, like, harder than me. You know what I mean? Harder than, you know, like, harder than everybody. Like, people are out here always doing something more. And it's like, so a lot of times, just give people credit. Like, you know, like, they're doing it. They said a bunch of yeses. And that's why they are who they are. Like, SZA, you know, like, you don't just spawn there, you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
She probably has so many stories of, like,
this
the
person
journey.
said no, this person said no, this person said no.
Yeah.
They didn't fuck with me. And then it's like you get to that place through, like, just a series of going through those no's.
Absolutely.
You just continue to go.
Absolutely.
Every single day, no matter what. I got a beer with a friend of mine last night, and he's doing something that's really crazy now, and he's been this a long time. He's a bit older than me. He's like 29.
Cool.
But he was telling me about how, like, and I related to this very heavily. I think, like, all the people I look up to, like you just said, it's very easy to perceive them and everything they've achieved as just, like, their highlights, right?
Right.
You're only looking at, like, this song went crazy, or this person threw this show, or this person did this, or whatever. You don't see, like, the 10 years prior, where, like, no one cared.
Right.
Like, you just don't see that from the surface level.
No.
Like, it becomes so easy to compare yourself, bro, especially in LA.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're around just music 24/7, 365. It can become so easy to just think that people are finding success out of thin air.
Right.
But it's never as simple as it seems.
Right. And it's honestly, that's why I love LA, though. Like, as long as you don't, like, get caught up in it.
Sure.
That's a beautiful motivation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to just keep running it up, bro.
That's very true. Like, you can always look up to somebody in LA.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, you can just drive around and you're ready to, like, go.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because, like,
it's inspiring.
in the right area, for sure. And so, man, LA, to me, I encourage everybody to visit. Honestly, I tell everybody all the time, like, you gotta at least go and just see, you know, because people are really out here, like,
totally
doing things and working for it as well. It's not like just luck or anything, you know. So
growing up in the area, because that's pretty interesting. It's a crazy place to grow up. Growing up in the area, how did your perception of LA change as you got older and begin to enter, like, the more traditional side of the music industry and started, you know, kind of doing the thing? Because, like, there's this very fantasized version of it that I think exists in a lot of people from the outside, but you were always here in some way or another. You grew up in the area. So being around it your whole life, did that demystify it to a degree? Also, like, your dad being within music, like, did that demystify it to a degree? Or when you actually got into stuff, was it similar to how you expected when you were more on the outside?
Man, I think coming up, I had the same view as everybody else. Like, man, well, actually, no, it was very normal to me. It was like, all of this is normal.
It was
like,
home.
Everything is normal. Yeah, like, everybody lives like this, you know. But then during my summers, I would go to New Orleans and be like, oh snap, like, LA's kind of popping.
Yeah.
But I think when I moved to Atlanta and came back is when I realized, like, okay, LA is really, like, a spot, and people aren't out just.
Sure.
It's like, it's not just luck. Like, people are out here working. It's just everybody that's really motivated comes to LA, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, you're in this pool of, like, people that are all inspired by each other, you know? And it becomes really nice.
That's one of the coolest things about LA to me, is that it's like a city of people from other places. Like, I mean, this is probably strange for you growing up here, but, like, I mean, like, most of the people in music in LA, like, are not from LA.
Yeah.
Which is something that's really cool, because you get a million different experiences. You get to, like, meet people who have grown up in every part of the country and in different countries and, like, so many different places. And not just, you know, it's kind of akin to, like, traveling almost, because, like, you're just living in a place with, like, so many people from so many different places with so many experiences. It's the coolest thing to me. And I don't know, there's not very many cities in the world I think you can get that.
Right. 100%.
Especially in art.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of a kind for sure.
Yeah, being because you said you're 21, right?
Yep.
That's really cool to me. You're absolutely killing it for being 21, dude.
Thank you.
Being, like, young in this and doing it for so long at this point. Like, it's strange because, like, you know, you're 21, but you've also been making music for like a very long time. How has it been navigating the world of being a younger person within music, which sometimes can be populated by a lot of older people who have found success? Have you clung to like some mentors? Have you clung to people who you can learn a lot of lessons from? Has it been strange walking into a studio session and being the youngest person there? How have you kind of navigated that world?
Yeah, no, I have some mentors, I'd say. Like, well, so first my dad. Right?
Yeah, totally.
Thank God for Cody. He's one of like he's been helped guide me through this. Jay talks a lot into me as well. My uncle, PJ Morton, and I'd say that's my solid little crew. That's like,
damn, that's crazy. PJ Morton's your uncle? I didn't know that.
Man.
That's so cool.
My uncle. Those four really reassure me that I'm not like, it's like that I'm supposed to be doing this. You know, it doesn't matter the age, and they treat me very like, yeah, like, you know, like I'm like
an artist.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm supposed to be here, artist or producer. You know,
sure.
Like, both of them, like, is very open arms. Like, yeah, come do this. Like it's not even like you're welcome to. It's like, please come do it. You know?
Yeah, they encourage you.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, my experience is so does everybody else. You know, like, as long as you go in there confident in yourself, but also read the room, right? Don't do too much, unless, you know, like, just don't do too much. Meaning, like, do as much as you can, you know, but too much is like, you know, there's a line where it's like,
sure, making
sure that you get called back, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the mentors, and my experience has been pretty good. Like, people see me as young, but most people think it's even cooler. You know? I
think it's super sick, man.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like, I feel very similarly. I think, like, all of the people that I look up to, and this is like a very common trait amongst a lot of these people, I think, like, they all treat this is a trait that I admire in everybody I meet that's like this, and I aspire to be this way. Like, I think a lot of my favorite people are the same in every single room. Like, regardless of who they're around, whether they're the oldest, whether they're the youngest, whether they're the most experienced, the least experienced, they're the same person, even keel in like every single room. I think that is a trait that I really aspire to model, and I think people who do that generally are the folks that are the most balanced. I think they're the people who have the least amount of ego. For sure, 100%. The people that, the older people that stay in touch with the young, you know, that's those guys, you know, and the young people that's cool working with the older people, like, that. Those are the best collaborators, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's all about the music. It's all about, or whatever it is that you're working on, you know? I mean that from every stance, every industry, you know? Age really shouldn't matter when it comes to art, or like just working together on something. You know? Being collaborative, being willing to extend that hand. Exactly. That's a massive thing. I actually think artists, as they get older, the ones that stick around the longest are the ones that are most in touch with the youth. Exactly. I mean, I think about people like Tyler, right? Like, exactly. He's so tapped in, like, ridiculously tapped in. I feel like every single artist I've become a fan of, like, you'll go back in their comments from like 4 years ago, and there's like a Tyler the Creator comment. He's not that old though, but he's not that old, but but I mean, what, he's 29, 30? Okay, yeah. Something that's like that? Still, come on, man. Like, I mean, no, definitely not old. Yeah, like, yeah. Definitely not old in the grand scheme of things, but music is like a young person's game. For sure, now. Yeah, for sure. But honestly, our prime artists right now, or like our guys on top are like 30 to 35. 30, yeah, exactly. Right now, but that's I'm gonna try to change that, you know? Like, yeah, dude. So we got to get the young people back on top. You know? I think, I mean, I'm 23. Okay. So like being younger in this as well, it's actually really inspiring to look at it that way. Yeah. Because like, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure you relate to this, but it can become really easy to get like down on yourself and become like frustrated creatively when things don't work out. For sure. But I think when you look at some of your heroes and your legends, and like realizing that they're all like generally like 30 to 40, you know, like we have so much time, bro. For like sure. I always try to like rationalize it, and what I'll do is I'll like ask myself like how geeked would like 16-year-old Dante be when he's like looking at what you're doing right now? Yeah, right. You know, like I think that often brings me back down to earth.
For
when
sure.
like, all right, like this didn't work out. Like, fuck it. What's the next thing?
For sure.
You know?
For sure.
When you get in those creative ruts, because every artist does, where, you know, like the next song isn't coming, or like things aren't working out, or that show didn't go well, or whatever, what are the things you tell yourself to break through that? How do you kind of remain inspired in this and continue to create when things get difficult?
I kind of just go live.
Yeah.
Try to go get some inspiration from like things going on in life, you know. But honestly, those are the worst times of my life when like it's just not flowing, bro. I hate that. I still haven't really cracked that code because it's genuinely just like, man, like, because that's like not a thing. Like I said, it's not about the theory. Like I can go make regular,
sure,
you know, all the time. I can do that.
Yeah,
like,
you can play chords.
Yeah, all the time. But that special thing where you excited to show people, like, look at this new like song, for example, like, yeah, like that's a tough thing that I'm still learning to figure out. But
sure,
you know, I'm fully for asking people questions, like the mentors I told you. I might just ask, you know, like, what did you guys do, you know, because you know they've went through it, and they'll. A lot of times people will give you some great advice, and you don't have to take it fully, but like, you know, you gotta go listen.
You gotta have, like, you gotta be man enough to listen.
Exactly. Man enough to listen is crazy.
I think it takes a lot of loss of ego and a lot of humility
for sure
to allow people into that degree. For sure. To like take a step back and be like, all right, like I don't know anything. Yeah. No one knows anything. Yeah. But let's, like, you know, give power to the folks in your life who you look up to. That bro, I think like I've seen a lot of young artists kill themselves. Well, not like literally, but like shoot themselves in the foot by thinking they're the best. Yeah. I think the second you think you're the smartest person in the room, you're done. You've lost. Yeah. Or trying to do it all yourself. Like, you're the smartest in the room when you're the biggest student. You know what I mean? Like, which often means you're the least experienced. Exactly. You know? And just, it's just genius to listen. It's genius to like take from everyone. You know what I mean? And it's like, and that's what my dad tells me all the time, bro. Go and just learn. Go soak it up, bro. You know? You'd be doing yourself such a big disservice if you didn't listen to people who've gone further than you in this. 100%. Like, you'd be doing yourself such a massive disservice. What you just said, I think, is so key. That like, when that feeling isn't coming, that moment, you know, like that. Because you're right, like you know, knowing basic theory or like knowing how to play, that's never gonna leave. Like, it's like riding a bike. Yeah. Like you will forever. Walking. Yeah, for the rest of your life, you'll have an understanding of music theory. You'll know how to play chords. You know, you can probably figure out a decent melody. You just know that, like, those stones have been turned over. But I think what you just said, that chasing the next, right? Chasing that feeling, that to me is what being an artist is. Yeah, 100%. It's like chasing that feeling, chasing what it means to like make something that you think really touches you and other people. 100%. That to me is what being an artist is. Yeah, 100%. And I wish more people would move like that these days, you know? But like, cause we would have some crazy music. Yeah, dude. You know? But, you know, I think it's gonna be a change. People like Leon Thomas, man, are like helping that change, you know, and like, because guys like that put out crazy stuff, and then it's like, you're gonna want to compete, you know, because people are naturally competitive. And it's like, I think people coming back to like making real music, good music, like, people are gonna have to compete with good music, and it's gonna be all good again. You know what I mean? I love that competitive nature in art, and I think that's kind of a, you know, a contentious opinion to some points, because I think a lot of people don't agree with that. And I mean, I certainly feel that like everybody can win in this. I don't think there's like a finite amount of music that can be successful, but at the same time, I think a lot of artists or people within in creative fields, they can sometimes buy into the process too much and make it be too spiritual, too rare, too like sparse. I think too business. That too. I like, this is like, it's kind of silly, but I really like what Timothée Chalamet said at the SAG speech. Did you see what he said? No. He kind of like went on stage and said like how it can be taboo to like have really, really big ambition as an artist, but like he wants to be great. Yeah, I saw that. I think every artist should chase greatness. Yeah. I think like it's weird that in this industry, in this world, it's become taboo to want to do well.
Yeah.
I don't think like that should be anybody's thing. I think everybody should be a nerd about this shit, bro. Like I think you should want to be a geek about this. You should want to know every single song. You should want to be the best that you can possibly be. I think like the athlete's mentality, there's a lot of validity in that in art. I mean, and again, like I don't think there's a finite amount of people that can win, and that's something that's special about music. But at the same time, like ambition's important.
Yeah.
You should want to make something better than you did yesterday every single day. That's what keeps you going. It's chasing that, you know?
Exactly. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I did see that speech.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Being an artist that came from a world that was mainly focused in production, and I mean you like have pretty recently just started putting out like, you know, artist project music. Like you've only been like putting stuff out for like less than a year, right?
Yeah.
I was curious because it's really, I enjoy talking to producers that have made that switch, and I think I've talked to a lot of them. I've been lucky, but and you talked about how sometimes you can be a more reserved person. Making that transition from being the person behind the keyboard to being the person on stage, what was that like for you? Like, was it anxiety provoking when you began really putting yourself out there? And if so, how did you break through that?
For sure. My pops, bro.
Nice.
Encouraging me, keep going, do the dive, you know? Yeah, I guess honestly that's it. It was bad. I mean, I really didn't want to. I really had a tough time getting over that. What
was holding you back from it?
Like shy, like nerves.
Yeah.
Like singing on stage is different. I can talk on stage and all of that, but like singing, it was a different ball game for me. And I'm still figuring it out, but just jumping off the porch, you know, running it up.
Yeah, just like jumping off the cliff and figuring it out.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really crazy to me that you didn't grow up singing. Like, like you're such a crazy singer and vocalist. Yeah, of course, man. But I was curious too, like, obviously, like being a very talented producer and now a songwriter and also a vocalist, like when you're working on a song, what tends to come first for you? Like what hits in your brain first? Is it drums? Is it melody? And then what are you usually building your songs around? What kind of comes first in your process, or is it different every time?
Wait, my bad. Can I use the restroom one more time?
Yeah, totally.
Sorry,
you're good, bro.
I'm trying to focus. It's too...
Dude, no, you're good.
I'm going to give you the best answers.
Thank you. I swear to God.
That's like... I never thought about that from podcasts. Like,
it's made me stronger.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to ask it one more time? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was asking, when you're making a song and the way that it registers in your brain, does the same thing come first for you every time? Is it usually you begin songs with drums? Are you beginning with keys on a keyboard? In your brain, what registers most musically? Because I'm interested in it, because you're obviously such like a singer and a producer and a songwriter. So I was curious which thing comes to you first when you're making a song, and is it the same every time?
Nah, it's different every time. Cause nowadays, right? Like, somebody like, for example, me and Jay are doing a project. He's produced the whole thing, right? So I wasn't really producing, and I'll have a beat, and I'll write, which I guess I can answer that from a writing standpoint.
Yeah,
I'll do like a scratch take of a whole song,
just like melodies.
Like, but I honestly go with the first thing most of the time, like that I did, and keep it pretty similar, because that's just what feels right, like what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But no, like, it's different every time, because sometimes somebody will send a beat, or I'll start a beat, or maybe I'm at somebody's house and they have a guitar.
Sure.
And we just start that and finish it later. So every time is different.
Is that a process that happens for you every single day? Are you somebody who's making music every single day?
Yes, to some extent. Like, for sure, I'm touching music some way.
Yeah.
But it might not be starting a new idea every single day. I would love to, but we don't have enough hours in the day.
I mean, you're busy, dude. You got a
You know
job
what I mean?
and you're a student.
Yeah, exactly. So
there's a lot. I mean, does that ever get frustrating creatively? Like when you have a really good idea, but unfortunately not the hours in the day to get it out?
Every day, bro.
Yeah.
Every day. Like, I hate that with my whole entire heart, because that's all I want to do. It's my passion. So
yeah,
I hate that, but Hey, it's life. I mean, it motivates me to like work, because shoot, people that are doing it full time are doing it full time. You know,
Yeah.
you get to do that every day.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get to that point.
I totally think there's something to be said about like touching music in some way every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just keeps your tool sharp. You know, like it just allows you to think about music in a different way. I think.
For sure.
I think it's really easy to get out of that headspace.
For
I think
sure.
you kind of always got to maintain within it in some degree. You know, whether that means like recording a voice memo every day, or that means like listening to music every day, or whatever it is, just like finding some way to be in touch with it. It kind of reminds you why you're doing it, you know?
For sure. Absolutely.
Also doing what you love. I think like it can become easy. Like, I mean, I definitely suffer from this. I think like I listen to so much music as like a job that like sometimes I'll forget to listen to things that I love.
Yeah.
Or, you know, listen to things that I listen to for pleasure. I think recently I've been in a place where like I've been really trying to go back to some records that like mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
And like really trying to like formulate my thoughts again around things that I listened to as a kid.
Absolutely.
And it definitely has brought me a lot of peace, you know. It kind of reminds you why you love this and why you do it.
Yeah. It still amazes me like how powerful music is, because
Yeah.
it literally can change your whole entire vibe. And I don't really understand what music is still.
Yeah,
you know what
man.
I mean? Just from a standpoint of like, what in the heck? It doesn't make sense that I can press play on something, right, and it carries everything. Or like,
Yeah.
or like does the opposite, like takes you to a place that like you weren't in. Like I was happy and I played this song, and now I'm thinking about this past sad event, you know, that happened. But
Yeah.
it's crazy to me how powerful music is.
I don't know if we're meant to understand it.
Yeah.
I don't think we are.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's that powerful. I think it's that special, bro. Like, I will never understand why music moves me every single day.
Yeah.
And it does. It just does time and time again. Like, and that feeling just never fades from me.
Yeah.
It's like, it is the most moving thing in my life always.
Yeah.
At any given point.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that'll ever stop.
Right.
Which I think is a gift, you know?
No, I'm so blessed, because like, I don't know, bro. Honestly, music has made life worth living sometimes. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
dang, like, I love life. You know, after like a good song, like the right song. So
that's how I'll feel, dude, when I see like an artist I really love live. It's like everything else after that seems a little bit less intimidating.
no, for sure. For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, you live once, bro. You know? So to enjoy things, you gotta appreciate it. Like, you really have to like take that in. Like, okay, I love this thing. You know what I mean? And I want more of it. Like,
Yeah.
you like listening to music, you like going to concerts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do that, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
100%. Follow that. Chase that with
Absolutely.
every single fabric of your body.
exactly.
You'd be doing yourself a disservice if you loved something and didn't chase it. Because I think
Exactly.
a lot of people don't love anything.
Exactly.
And, you know, not to knock those
Exactly.
people, but like, dude, I'm so thankful that like I have something like music, which I believe in so wholly.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't have that, I don't know what I'd be chasing. I'm sure, you know, I love other things, but I think some people never find their thing.
Yeah.
And I think if you have the gift of being able to know what you love,
Mm-hmm.
like you're shooting yourself in the foot if you don't run towards it.
Straight up.
Yeah, sick, dude. I know you gotta work, so I know we should wrap it up. But the last thing I wanted to ask you, you have this project with Jay coming out. Super excited to hear it.
Yeah.
It being like your first project, your debut.
Mhm.
Do you have like an overarching message that you want people to get from it? One thing you hope they derive from the project? Like, what's the biggest intention that you have for people to get from it?
I think I want people to know, in a not cocky way, like, I want to stay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, I don't want y'all to just love this project. Like, it's so much more to come, you know? Like, I promise I'm going to work hard to, like, make sure that, like, there's more to come. You know what I mean? And that, like, people love the next as well. But, I mean, from this project specifically, like, I don't know. I just want people to feel good, bro. Like, I want people to, like, love it. I don't know what I'm trying to say yet with the project, but I want people to genuinely love it and be in their room, like, genuinely loving the music, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's really, I really care about that, so.
Yeah, honoring your gifts, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And we should speak on the show.
Yeah, I was going to say, EJ Ross from Sack to the Skyline, June 7th at the Woodbridge. Thank you for playing it, man. I'm incredibly excited to have you playing it with Josh P and Bossy Vibe. It should be a great show at a really, really beautiful loft venue that's run by a friend of mine named Elliot. Yeah, tickets on sale now. Tell them where they could listen. Tell them where they could stream your music and find you.
Yeah, everywhere. EJ Ross, you know?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited for the show, though.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
You're playing with a band, right?
Yeah, I got a band.
Oh, sick, dude. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. This is a beautiful conversation. Like,
Yes,
I love your perspective, man. Thank you for sitting down with me. It's really cool you're a very humble guy, and, you know, you could be as cocky as you wanted having your gifts, but
thank you,
it's cool that you're not. And, yeah, it was great talking to you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Likewise, bro.
Hell yeah, man. All right. Yeah. Tickets available now. Thanks, bro.
No, thank you.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Music matters.